They say you never truly know the weight of a moment until it becomes a memory. And for Lee Min-ho, one memory continues to haunt him: losing Kim Go-eun. Before we dive into the emotional truth behind the headline, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of the real stories behind your favorite stars. In a world filled with flashing cameras, global fame, and endless schedules, it's easy to believe that love among celebrities is nothing more than a fleeting fantasy. But for Lee Min-ho, what he had with Kim Go-eun was real. So real, in fact, that even years after they quietly drifted apart, her name still lingers in the corners of his heart. The news came like a storm. Kim Go-eun was pregnant. There was no press conference, no official statement from her agency, just a quiet leak that turned into a wildfire of online speculation. Who was the father? Was she married? Was this a planned chapter in her life, or something unexpected? But for Lee Min-ho, the moment he read the headline, everything around him froze. His heart dropped. His mind raced. Because in that single headline, all the emotions he had buried came flooding back. Rewind the clock a few years, and the story was quite different. At the height of their careers, Lee Min-ho and Kim Go-eun met on the set of a popular drama. At first, it was purely professional, two talented actors sharing a screen. But as filming went on, something shifted. Their chemistry wasn't just for the cameras. It was genuine, electric, undeniable. Fans saw it. Crew members felt it. But behind closed doors, it became something deeper, an unspoken connection neither of them expected. They would often stay behind after filming wrapped, lingering on set just a bit longer than necessary. Conversations turned personal. Late-night texts turned into secret meetings. And before long, they were inseparable. They kept it quiet, of course. Fame doesn't allow for softness. It doesn't leave room for vulnerability. So they built their little world in whispers and glances, in tucked-away cafes and quiet phone calls. But even the strongest connections can falter under pressure. The burden of public expectations, the constant travel, the fear of scandal. Slowly, those outside forces crept in. They began to argue, not out of hate, but out of fear. Lee Min-ho was cautious. He didn't want the media to twist their love into a spectacle. Kim Go-eun, on the other hand, longed for something real, something open. The tension built silently until one day, without a dramatic fight or loud goodbye, they quietly let go of each other's hands. To the public, it seemed like nothing had ever happened. Just another pairing that never materialized off-screen. But in their hearts, both of them knew what they had shared. Lee Min-ho tried to move on. He threw himself into work, filled his schedule to the brim, smiled for interviews, laughed on variety shows. But every time he saw her name in a headline, or caught a glimpse of her in an old clip, his heart ached. He would never admit it publicly, but privately, in the stillness of his home, he would replay the moments with her over and over again. Then came the silence. Months passed, then years. He heard little about her, except for the occasional drama success or red carpet appearance. Until now. Until that headline. Kim Go-eun, pregnant. Lee Min-ho sat alone in his apartment, reading the article again and again, hoping it was a rumor, praying it was just another tabloid stunt. But it wasn't. It was real. He didn't know how to feel. Was it jealousy? Regret? Sadness? All of it, maybe. He tried to convince himself that he should be happy for her, that she had found joy, built a life, and was moving forward. But beneath the surface, a part of him shattered, because while the world celebrated her new chapter, he was left wondering, what if? What if he had stayed? What if he had fought harder? What if the child was his? He knew it was unlikely. They hadn't spoken in over a year. But the timing, it wasn't impossible. And that thought consumed him. He began to retreat from public life, canceling events, skipping appearances, ignoring calls. His fans noticed something had changed. The sparkle in his eyes had dimmed. His usual confidence had faded. But only those closest to him knew why. He didn't reach out to her. He couldn't. What would he even say? Congratulations? Is it mine? I still love you? None of it felt right. So he sat in silence, wrestling with his emotions, while the rest of the world speculated about the mystery behind Kim Go-eun's pregnancy. She too remained silent. No confirmation, no denial. Just graceful silence. One rainy evening, Lee Min-ho drove to a small cafe they used to visit in secret. It hadn't changed. The same warm lighting, the same soft music, the same table in the corner where they used to sit, hidden behind a curtain. He ordered her favorite drink, even though she wasn't there. And as he sat alone, staring at the empty seat across from him, a single tear rolled down his cheek. I lost her, he whispered to himself. and it's my biggest regret." He thought about the family they could have had, the mornings filled with laughter, the late-night talks about dreams and fears, the quiet moments of just being. Now, someone else would have that with her. Someone else would hold her hand in the delivery room. Someone else would rock their baby to sleep. Unless fate had played a different hand. The whispers grew louder. Some insiders claimed there was no new man in her life. No one had seen her with anyone romantically in years. Some even speculated that the baby might have been a choice she made on her own, or that the father was someone from her past. And once again, Lee Min-ho's heart started to hope. Could it really be? Could he still be a part of her story? But love, like life, is complicated. Even if the child was his, even if she still had feelings for him, could they truly go back? Could they rebuild something they had once walked away from? Those questions weighed heavily on him. The truth was, he didn't need a DNA test to realize what he had lost. It wasn't just about the baby. It was about her. Her smile, her laugh, her presence. And he had let it all slip away. In a private interview, when asked about his biggest regret, Lee Min-ho paused for a long time. Then quietly, without elaboration, he said, "Losing her." That was all he needed to say. Fans immediately connected the dots. Messages poured in. Support flooded social media. And somewhere, behind the scenes, Kim Go-eun saw it too. She read his words. She knew what they meant. And for the first time in years, she smiled, a real, warm smile. Because even though their journey had taken them down different paths, the love they shared had never truly disappeared. Maybe one day they would speak again. Maybe one day Lee Min-ho would knock on her door, not as a celebrity, not as a man weighed down by regret, but simply as the person who once held her heart. And maybe, just maybe, that door would open. Until then, he waits. Quietly, respectfully, hopefully. Because some stories, no matter how painful, are far from over. If this emotional journey touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe for more real-life inspired stories from the world of your favorite stars. Sometimes the truth behind the headlines is more powerful than fiction, and sometimes love deserves a second chance. Would you like a version with background music cues or sound effects suggestions for editing?
Here's the continuation of the fanfiction story for Losing Her Is My Biggest Regret. Lee Min-ho shocked fans after hearing Kim Go-eun is pregnant, keeping the same narrator voiceover style and emotional tone. Days turned into weeks, but Lee Min-ho couldn't shake the weight in his heart. Everywhere he turned, reminders of her surfaced, an old commercial they once filmed, a drama rerun playing late at night, a melody they used to listen to during long car rides. It was as though the universe refused to let him forget. And in truth, he didn't want to. He began journaling, pouring his emotions onto paper the way actors